Hello and a very good welcome to ScrewyLoops. You're about to take a ride on decision making at its finest as we voyage onto an island like no other. An island populated with flying fish, the undead, and birds that require extensive anger management. This is Thorpe Park, everyone. Thrill capital of the United Kingdom. And who am I to disagree? Thorpe Park has a great roster of coasters which are begging for a top 7 video like this one. And with that, you're watching ScrewyLoops and this is top 7 roller coasters at Thorpe Park. Kicking this list off is Flying Fish. You sat on the back of a fish, there's no fucking theming, you go about 10 miles per hour, you pull about 1.5 G, it's a 2-lap special, maybe 3 if you're unlucky. All I have is this picture of it photobombing stealth. How dare you, you fucking fish! And that's why it sits in 7th place on this list. Despite having quite possibly the worst name of any coaster at the Thorpe Park, The Walking Dead, the ride, isn't actually too bad. Again, I apologise for the lack of B-roll footage on this one, but at least I have an excuse. This Vekoma Enigma is completely enclosed and extremely dark, and despite its intimidating theme and 1.4 metre height restriction, the coaster itself is very tame. In fact, this is why it sits at number 6 on my list. It's all about the overall experience on this one. I genuinely do not rate this as a coaster, but combined with a tense atmosphere and your pants theming, the end result is a pretty decent horror attraction. And I don't even think you need to be a fan of the series to appreciate this either. I couldn't give a rattle about Walking Dead after season 2, but I like what I saw. It's also chocked full of surprises. My favourite moment actually happens halfway around the coaster itself. I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you know, well, you know. My biggest problem with Walking Dead, however, is that it's not the most re-rideable attraction. The pre-ride and post-ride portions really add to the girth of the experience. Once you're through that door, it can take from 10 to 15 minutes until you're out, and the payoff isn't really worth running back round for in my eyes. This is why Walking Dead sits at number 6 on my list. I've just got a text. Hey baby, if you make me number 1, I will turn your world upside down. No idea who you are. I hope you like it rough, because I would bang your head like there's no tomorrow. At number 5, it's the record-breaking Intamin Mega Looper classic that is Colossus. Opened back in 2002, this coaster quite literally turned worlds upside down as it soared through 10 stomach-churning, vom-inducing, puke-projecting inversions. I promise though, it's not that bad really, especially after a KFC. It tastes a lot better coming up than going down. Although Colossus is my least favourite of the big 5 at Thorpe, it still provides a somewhat solid ride experience, especially when ridden on the front, as it is a lot smoother and even more disorientating. It's a visually pleasing ride thanks to its bright colours, surrounding theming, an iconic headrush barrel roll segment, and also offers some great near misses whilst riding it. Where Colossus falters, however, is the reason why this sits at number 5 on my list. The trains. You get more legroom on a flight with Ryanair. I'm really not a fan. And the layout is as dull as dishwater. Yeah, I get that it's getting on, but B&M were pumping out much more exciting designs even before this time. And yeah, it's not the smoothest, but as long as you sit towards the front and lean forward, it's not actually too bad. Just got another text. I thought you were head over heels for me, not your number 1. We're over. Well, looks like I'm off to the single rider queue then, doesn't it? I never liked you in the first place, you multi-looping slag. Do you want to play a game? No, seriously, do you want to play a game? I'll call it the test of stupidity. All you gotta do is put your hand in front of your face on stealth. Ready? There, I'll win. Cutting in at number 4 is Saw the Ride, the Gerstlauer Eurofighter which opened back in 2009, and this was actually my first taste of a beyond vertical drop. I was gobsmacked back in the day. In fact, this used to be my number 1 coaster at Thorpe Park. It had everything going for an edgy teenage Chris during the noughties. I mean, come on, you got a 100-degree drop, terrifyingly violent theming, an awesome pop of ejector airtime, an enclosed dark ride section with a vertical drop and shotguns hanging from the ceiling. Who the f*** leaves their shotguns hanging from the ceiling? Now you're probably thinking then, why is it number 4 on my list? I've already listed out why I loved this coaster so much. The keyword here is loved. I just don't feel the same magic as I did 10 years ago. While it still is a good coaster, over time I began to notice all of its flaws. I still really enjoy the opening dark ride segment. This is definitely my favourite part of the entire coaster. It's when it goes outdoors where the cracks begin to surface. I find it difficult to enjoy Saw's 100-degree drop because I'm just bracing for the jarring bump at the bottom. It really knocks me about. The rest of the layout can be quite rough as well. It also feels sluggishly paced too, which really drains the intensity out of an otherwise pretty intense coaster. But as I said, it still is a good coaster and I'd take it over Colossus any day. That's why Saw the Ride sits at number 4 on my list. Winning that bronze medal in 3rd place is Nemesis Inferno, Thorpe's ever popular B&M invert which opened back in 2003. Good God, how is it that old now? I remember my first ever visit to Thorpe Park and Inferno was the brand new coaster, but I was too much of a pussy to do it. Come on, I was only 10, you gotta start somewhere, right? And this coaster still feels as freshly baked as ever. I'd go as far to say that this is the smoothest coaster in the entire park. It's aged really well, and not only that, the theming has also been kept nice too. I'm not going to draw the obvious comparisons to the original Nemesis at Alton Towers, as let's be honest, that's in a completely different league. But Inferno pulls off a more old school traditional style layout, which never lets up from start to finish. And this is generally why Inferno sits so high on this list. It's such a simplistic, yet relentless experience. It's snappy, fierce and full of fun. There's no gimmicks, nothing particularly groundbreaking because Inferno doesn't need it. It's just pure unadulterated enjoyment, and I can't complain. Oh, this was a nightmare to decide on. Honestly, I could have gave the top spot to either of these coasters, but I'm just going to go off pure instinct, and my number 2 spot goes to The Swarm, the B&M winged monstrosity which opened in 2012, and my god, this thing really is a monster. It took down planes, flipped fire engines, and seriously, do I need to explain what's happening on this? Thorpe Park somehow managed to create an attraction that is darker and more brutally terrifying than Saw the Ride. Do you want to play a game? Which side are you going to choose? The side where you're going to drown, or the side where you get disintegrated and burnt to a crisp? You decide. This thing is ferocious and I love it. The beastly trains give a very different experience depending on which side you choose and where on the train you wish to go, and because of this it offers so much re-rideability it's almost impossible not to run round and get back on this great coaster. The inverted drop offers some amazing hang time, the bank turn over the lake provides some blackout fueled G-forces, and that inline twist finale, head chopper and leg chopper galore. The Swarm is so good. Drum roll, people! Wait, what am I doing? You already know what it is. If you haven't already guessed it, my number 1 coaster at Thorpe Park is Stealth, the Intamin hydraulic launch coaster that debuted in 2006. And this was a massive FU to all the naysayers who thought, we never build above 200 feet again. Well, you know what? We did it and smashed it by a whopping 5 feet. 5 whole feet? That's as big as me! When I was like 10. Not only that, Stealth is fast. So fast that it has the quickest acceleration of any Intamin hydraulic launch coaster in the world. 0 to 80 miles per hour in just 1.9 seconds. And this is where I believe Stealth doesn't get the credit it deserves. It is in retrospect a record-breaking coaster. And before anyone attacks me in the comments, I said quickest acceleration on a hydraulic launch coaster. Not fastest coaster in the world. There's actually a big difference. Cheers, guys. Saying that, I've actually been on the fastest coaster in the world, Formula Rossa, and in terms of initial acceleration, Stealth would leave Rossa in smoke. It seriously is that quick, and I don't think many people realise this either. But of course, it's not just that incredible launch which makes Stealth top this list. It also has the best airtime of any coaster in the park. If you're sitting at the back, then you're going to get all that ejector over the top hat. It's such a rush being propelled out your seat at 200 feet in the air. not touching down until you reach the bottom. On the front it kinda savours that airtime over the top hat and bizarrely lets loose on the brake run of all places. There's not many coasters I can say where the best airtime is actually on the part where it slows you down. Man, I love stealth. Many thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to share your top 7 in the comments below, and if it does match mine, then you get good taste. Recently I asked, what would you guys build in this very suspicious plot of land behind Swarm at Thorpe Park, and my favourite was this. Massive shout out to Bo Newman on Twitter. He really took it to the extra mile by not only mocking up a map of the area, but also including his own graphic art designs. Seriously, head over to my Twitter and check it out in the comments. I also want to give a shout out to Lewis Hart. Thanks for the support, my man. For more shout out opportunities, make sure to follow me on Twitter and Facebook, links in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button, smash subscribe for more content like this, and give the bell a flick to keep all up to date. Top left is our latest video, bottom left is a random one, and make sure to hit that button on the right for the ride of your lives. You've been watching ScrewyLoops, try a bit.